The evening air in Jerusalem held a weight that did not belong to the sun. A density of secrets kept behind bolted cedar doors, where the 10 sat trembling in a half-light of joy and terror. But the one called Didymus walked the outer perimeter of the city's grief, his sandals grinding the gray dust of a world that remained stubbornly, cruelly the same. For Thomas, the architecture of the soul was built on the geometry of the visible, a carpenter's son who knew that a beam must be felt to be trusted, and a joint must be plain to be true. He was the twin of our own hesitation, the mirror of the mind that refuses to be comforted by ghosts or the frantic whispers of those who claim the grave has exhaled its prize. He demanded not a vision, but a collision with the physical reality of a scar. For only a wound is deep enough to hold the vastness of a man's despair. When the 8th day dawned and the walls seemed to breathe with the pulse of the uncreated, the air in the room grew sharp with the scent of lilies and old blood. There he stood, not as a shimmering phantom of the mind's desire, but as the master of the loom, wearing the punctures of the world's malice like badges of an ancient cosmic rank. The invitation was a thunderclap of mercy. Reach out the finger, extend the hand, map the geography of the side, where the spear had carved a tavern for the weary. In that moment, the distance between the skeptic's eye and the Savior's heart collapsed into a single trembling point of contact. The logic of the stone gave way to the logic of the flame. The twin who sought the limit of the flesh found the shoreless ocean of the divine. And the cry that shattered the silence was not a confession of logic, but a surrender of the entire being. My Lord and my God. From that threshold of tactile grace, the path of the apostle did not retreat into the safety of the known, but surged outward like a river, seeking a distant, burning sea. July 3rd marks the zenith of a journey that spanned the spine of the world. From the rugged hills of Judea to the humid, spice-laden breath of the Malabar coast. The man who once required the touch of a finger now carried the weight of a kingdom across the Indus and the Ganges, his footsteps weaving a tapestry of light through the dark forests of the East. He who was slow to believe became the swiftest to run, his heart forged into a vessel of unshakable iron, tempered by the memory of that upper room. He traded the familiar stars of Galilee for the southern constellations of India, preaching to kings and craftsmen alike that the God of all creation possessed a body that could be broken, a heart that could be felt, and a life that could never again be contained by the geometry of death. Now the monsoon rains of Mylapore sing his name against the granite crosses that stand as sentinels of his sacrifice. The doubt that was once his shadow has become the foundation of our certainty. For he asked the questions we were too afraid to whisper, and touched the darkness we were too timid to face. On this feast of the 3rd day of July, we do not celebrate a man of hesitation, but a man of the ultimate leap, the traveler who did the chasm between the seen and the unseen with the of his own martyrdom. He stands forever at the edge of the world, a twin to every soul that wanders in the twilight of uncertainty, pointing with a scarred and holy hand toward the wounds that have become the windows of the universe, proving that the most stubborn heart, once broken by the truth, becomes the most immovable pillar of the faith. The amber glow of the sanctuary, lamps flickers against the cooling stone as the clock strikes the 7th hour of the day's final rest. Here, in the hallowed quiet of the nave, the Sunday evening choir gathers their breath, a collective respiration that carries the weight of a week's labor and the lightness of a soul surrendered. We stand in the gloaming where the secular world recedes and the sacred cadence of Gary, all simple, devastating truth begins to vibrate through the wooden rafters. It is the hour of the Vespertide, the 7 p.m. transition, where the shadows are longest and our offerings are most transparent. We do not bring the frantic energy of the dawn or the formal posture of the midday high mass, but rather the honesty of the weary, the stewardship of the broken, and the melodic tithing of our very existence. Listen to the rustle of the hymnal pages, a sound like autumn leaves skittering across a holy threshold, as we prepare to articulate the geometry of our poverty. All that we have and all that we are is not a boast of possession, but a confession of origin. We are the conduits of a grace that was never meant to be, dammed up in the reservoirs of the self. The lyrics on the screen are more than mere prompts for the tongue. They are the cartography of a spiritual journey that leads from the clenched fist of the ego to the open palm of the servant in the specific atmosphere, under the watchful eyes of saints carved in oak. The concept of a gift becomes a mirror. We look into the melody and see our hands calloused by the Monday through Saturday grind, now lifted in a rhythmic architecture of praise that Gary Alt envisioned as a between the altar and the street. The harmony begins as a low hum, a subterranean river of bass and alto that grounds the high, soaring petitions of the sopranos. We sing of the grain that must die to become bread, and in doing so, we acknowledge the tiny deaths we have died since the last Sabbath. Every frustration, every unexpressed kindness, and every hidden grief is gathered into this coal vat to be fermented into the wine of sacrifice. The 7 p.m. choir understands that the evening is the time for the gathering of fragments. We bring the crumbs of our time, the remnants of our energy, and the flickering candles of our faith, trusting that the divine math will multiply these meager elements until they suffice for a hungry world. The music is not a performance, but a participation in the primordial act of giving back to the Creator the breath He first exhaled into the dust. See how the lyrics scroll by, white text against the deepening blue of the digital background, echoing the ancient truth that our ceases to be a thief and becomes a sanctuary. We offer our dreams, those fragile glass birds we've tried to keep from breaking. And we offer our failures, those heavy stones that have anchored us to the earth. There is a peculiar dignity in this Sunday night gathering. It is the final gaze before the world resumes its clamor. We sing with the desperation of those who know that without this surrender, we are merely ghosts haunting our own lives. Gary Alton becomes a vessel, a sturdy ship of vows and consonants that carries our collective yes into the silence of the Godhead. As the final chords of the organ bleed into the stillness, the essence of the hymn lingers like the scent of frankincense in the curtains. We have given all that we have, which is ultimately nothing. And in that void, we have received all that He is, which is everything. The choir disperses into the cool night air, the lyrics still etched upon the lining of their hearts, walking out into the dark streets, not as owners of their destiny, but as stewards of a light that was never theirs to hide. The Sunday 7 p.m. choir concludes not with the period, but with the comma, for the life of the hymn begins when the singing stops and the living starts. We are the gift, we are the offering, and we are the song that continues to echo through the corridors of the mundane, transformed by the simple, radical act of holding nothing back.
The sanctuary amber glows with the residue of a day spent in devotion, where the scent of beeswax mingles with the damp coats of those who gather in the 7 o'clock gloaming. We are the Sunday night remnant, the tired lungs and the earnest hearts, standing on the precipice of the great coming, while the city hums its indifferent anthem beyond these stone walls. Here, the score rests on music, stands like white birds awaiting flight, carrying the weight of Michael's melody and the ancient dust of the Judean wild. It is a summons that begins in the diaphragm and ends in the stars, a visceral vibration of comfort whispered first by the wind through the cedar branches, and now amplified by the collective breath of a choir that knows the exhaustion of the world. We lean into the cadence, our voices weaving a tapestry of longing that stretches back to the Babylonian exile and forward to the morning star that has not yet risen above the horizon of our waiting.
Beneath the vaulted ceiling, the command resonates to make straight a highway in the arid wastes of our own indifference, to saw down the peaks of pride and lift the sunken trenches of our despair. We sing of topography turned holy, of tectonic shifts in the spirit, where the rugged terrain of a broken life is plain smooth by a grace we cannot manufacture. The flute traces a line like a swallow over a dry creek bed, and we follow its ascent, mindful that our flesh is but grass, and our constancy like the wildflowers of the meadow that succumb to the first sharp frost. Yet as the ink on the page catches the dimming light, we affirm that the word of our God is the only architecture
structure that it does not crumble, the only foundation that remains. When the echoes of our Sunday evening service have dissolved into the quiet of the coming week, we are the heralds of a wilderness that is not a place of desolation, but a laboratory of the soul, where the silence is finally loud enough to hear the approaching footsteps of the one who comes to govern with a strong arm and a shepherd's heart. How tenderly the melody cradles the promise of the lambs gathered into a divine embrace, held close to the chest of the infinite, where the shivering stops and the journey finds its rest. Our harmonies are the bandages we wrap around each other's wounds, a polyphonic balm that declares the warfare is ended, and the iniquity is pardoned by a double measure of mercy. In the 7 p.m. stillness, we are no longer just accountants, teachers, or laborers, but conduits of an ancient prophecy that demands a highway be carved through the stone of our stubbornness. We feel the pull of the rhythm, the gentle but insistent thrumming that mimics the heartbeat of an expectant mother, the rhythmic labor of a world groaning for its deliverance. Each note is a stone laid in the path, each rest a moment of breathless anticipation, as we prepare the way for the glory that shall be revealed to all flesh together. A vision so blindingly beautiful, it requires the dimness of this late hour to be even partially understood. The shadows grow long in the nave, stretching out like the vast plains of the Arava, and we lift our eyes to the heights of Zion, where the messenger stands with a voice that must not falter. We bid our fear depart into the darkness of the vestibule, for the Lord God comes with power, not to crush but to nourish, leading the nursing ewes with the patience that outlasts our shortest days and longest nights. Our choir is a small flame in the Advent frost, a flickering testimony that the desert will bloom and the parched land will bubble with springs of living water. As the final chords hang in the air, vibrating against the stained glass and the wooden pews, we carry the desert within us, but a desert that has heard the news of its own transformation. We walk out into the Sunday night, the melody still humming in our marrow, certain that the voice which cried out in the wilderness is now the voice that guides us home through the cold, toward the warmth of a stable that will soon contain the fullness of the Word made flesh. The mountains may smoke and the hills may depart, but the resonance of this evening stays rooted in the furrowed ground of our communal song. We have seen the glory in the ink and heard the herald in the alto sigh, and though the grass withers under the weight of the coming winter, the song we practiced at 7 p.m. is an evergreen vine climbing toward the light. We are the voice in the desert, not because we are loud, but because we are hollowed out, to let the Spirit blow through us like a flute of bone, calling the scattered people to a feast that has been prepared since the foundation of the world. In the silence of the walk to the parking lot, the Isaiah 40 promise lingers like a fragrance, a reminder that every valley of our week is already being filled by the God who measures the heavens with a span and carries the broken in his bosom. Upon the emerald crest of Algestro, where the silence of the flint meets the ancient breath of the home oak, a light more piercing than the noonday sun carved its path through the mundane azure of May. It It was not the jagged anger of a storm's electric tongue, but a cataract of uncreated fire, a liquid crystalline brilliance that washed over the three small shadows of Lucia, Francisco, and Jacinta. This was the inaugural tremor of a celestial symphony, a visual hymn that found its first notes in the terrified yet transfixed hearts of shepherds. The Cova da Iria, once a mere fold of earth for wandering flocks, became the navel of the world, an altar where the sky bent low to kiss the dust of Portugal. There she stood, clad in a mantle of whitest wool, woven with the threads of eternity, her feet resting lightly upon the gossamer breath of the tree's crown, her presence between the ticking clocks of men and the timeless pulse of the divine. She carried the weight of the world's sorrows within the hollow of her immaculate heart, yet her countenance was a testament to a peace that surpasses the understanding of keys. Her hands, joined in a perennial gesture of supplication, clutched a chain of stellar pearls, the rosary, that rhythmic ladder of orisons designed to climb the steep cliffs of human frailty. Each bead was a drop of dew, destined to extinguish the fires of war. Each decade a battalion of roses marched against the encroaching shadows of a century that would soon learn the cold geometry of iron and ash. She spoke not in the thunder of Sinai, but in the soft melodic cadence of a mother who knows the secrets of the future, warning of a second darkness while pointing toward the morning star of conversion. The air around her was saturated with the fragrance of unseen lilies, a perfume that defied the arid landscape and whispered of a garden where the thorns of sin had been forever pruned by the shears of grace. Now, as the calendar of the faithful turns its pages toward the 13th of May, in the year 2026, the bells of the world begin to stir in a collective, bronze-throated anticipation. The distance between the 1900th year of her first visitation and this coming spring is collapsed by the persistence of her promise. We stand in the nave of history, watching the stained glass of our era catch the same light that once dazzled the eyes of the children. The crown we offer her is not merely one of beaten gold and stolen gems, but a diadem of collective sighs, a coronation of the broken who have found healing in the shadow of her white veil. The hymns we compose are the echoes of her own Magnificat, recalibrated for a digital age that still hungers for the analog truth of the spirit. We sing to the Lady of the Rosary, the Queen of Peace, who stands at the crossroads of our anxieties, her fingers still tracing the beads that weave the safety net of the world. Let the music swell in the vast cathedrals and the humble chapels alike, a tidal wave of Marian devotion that surges from the shores of the Atlantic to the farthest reaches of the human heart. Let the roses of Fatima be cast upon the waters of our troubled time, their petals carrying the scent of a hope that refuses
wither. We remember the miracle of the sun, the terrifying dance of the celestial disk that proved the heavens are not indifferent to our plight. And we ask for a similar movement in our own frozen souls. May the 13 days of May be a corridor of light, leading us back to the source of all harmony, where the Queen of Fatima awaits with her arms open like the gates of a sanctuary. In 2026, the message remains as urgent as the first flash of lightning over the home oak. A call to penance, a plea for prayer, and the unwavering assurance that in the end, the white mantle of her love will cover the entirety of our wounded earth, turning our dirges into a timeless hymn of restoration.
The amber wick of the Sabbath day flickers low against the salt-crusted window pane, where the dust of a week's labor settles in the silence of the nave. It is 7 in the evening, and the shadows are long and lean, like the mast of ghost ships docked in the harbor of our weariness. We stand in the half-light, 4 voices woven into a single rope of sound, waiting for the vibration that begins not in the throat, but in the ancient rhythmic pull of the moon upon the marrow. There is a rustle of sheet music, a sound like dry leaves on a beach, before the first note rises from the wooden floorboards to claim the air. The call is not a thunderclap, but a whisper of shifting silt, an invitation carved in the wet sand of a heart that has forgotten how to swim. Walk with me away from the paved certainties of the town, away from the locked gates and the ledger books, toward the place where the horizon loses its hem and the sky bleeds into the brine. I hear the basses first, a low and steady swell, like the tectonic shifting of the ocean floor, anchoring the promise in the deep cold, where the light rarely reaches, but the pressure is a firm embrace. They sing of the stones we have carried in our pockets, the heavy grievances that sink us, and they bid us drop them into the kelp forests of the forgotten. Then the tenors rise, a current of warm water moving northward, carrying the melody of the shoreline, the sound of sandals clicking against the pebbles of Galilee. They are the movement, the stride, the kinetic energy of a footfall that does not hesitate when the ground becomes fluid. They sing of the nets we have spent our lives mending, the tangled threads of our own making, and the radical grace of leaving them behind to rot in the sun, while we pursue a path that leaves no footprint. The altos enter with the scent of the evening mist, a violet harmony that's the gap between the depths and the spray. Theirs is the voice of the twilight, the 7 p.m. realization that the day is gone, and the infinite is all that remains. They sing of the salt that stings the eyes but heals the wound, the bitter beauty of a soul.